Hey guys, I am Chimpanzee and welcome to the first ever episode of my Football Manager series titled Make Singapore Great Again. Okay, before we start with anything, I would like to give a huge shout out to one and only footy manager Tai Vai. And basically, he has provided years of Football Manager amazing entertainment and awesome content. And also recently, the main inspiration for me to actually go and record my own Football Manager series. So this is the very first time that I'm doing this, recording my own Football Manager series. And hopefully things will go well. And yeah. Okay, so another thing I want to just state before we start is that I am using the Football Manager 2017 client for the series. I know that FM17 is currently outdated because at the time of recording, it's almost a month since the latest version, Football Manager 2018, has been released. But the issue is I haven't been able to afford to obtain or to procure the latest game client yet, and I haven't been playing this version yet. Actually, I got this, if I'm not mistaken, like a few months after its release, and I haven't got the chance to play around with it yet. So this series also serves as a motivation for me to finally get this game into some use, to actually play it extensively. This is actually certainly a different change of pace from the usual leagues. Usually people would play leagues like the Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, or the Italian Serie A, just to name three of the top tier leagues of the world that most people play, whether privately or recording. Since I'm playing in Singapore now. As for the database, I have chosen to load just the Singaporean league, and also I have chosen to load the large database as well as loading every single Singaporean players that exist within the game's database. Okay, so why Singapore? Why didn't I choose the big teams, the usual suspects like Manchester United or Manchester City or Real Madrid or Juventus and whatnot? Why Singapore? Okay, first and foremost, it is quite unique, I would say, because during the preparation phase, or I should say the massive procrastination phase, I tried to search a Singapore-related Football Managers series on YouTube, and the search didn't return any result at all. Nothing, not even, maybe there was a one-off episode like someone managing a particular national team and then they play one game against Singapore, and that's about it. It's not like a series dedicated to Singapore. And that just made me think, oh well, since nobody has done it yet, I have the chance to be the first one who do it, maybe, hopefully. And I have to do it as soon as possible before someone beats me to it or something like that. And another thing I want to note is that Singapore has a special place in my heart in terms of real life. I have soft spot not only with Singapore itself as a country, as a place to live and things like that, but also in terms of Singapore football. I have a certain nostalgia because in the year 2003, I actually followed Singapore football really closely every single day. Even though I didn't manage to attend any games in that year, in retrospect, maybe I should have attended a game, but at that time I didn't have anybody else who followed Singapore football. And even if I told people within my social circles at that time, even the Singaporeans, they would have laughed at me and say the usual things like, oh, why waste your time watching the local league? Might as well just, watch the usual Premier League broadcast or things like that. So that's why I didn't have the opportunity to actually witness it from up close and personal level. But basically, I read a certain newspaper in Singapore at that time, and in that year particularly, that news outlet covered Singaporean league or the S.league really extensively, and I was really engaged with the league in that particular year. And one more main reason, I guess, why I chose Singapore, because especially in the past few years, at the moment, Singapore football is not in the best shape at all. And that's already a lenient statement, to be brutally honest. I mean, if you just search on YouTube, again, I did an extensive research on the Singapore football fan base and things like that during my procrastination phase before finally going with recording this, finally, after so long. If you check out certain interviews or commentary videos by Singapore football fans, you will notice that they really do not have anything nice to say about Singapore football and the Singapore national team, especially at the moment. And at the time of recording, actually, I found out that the national team hasn't recorded any victories at all since last year, like one whole year of 2017, where there was a 2019 Asian Cup qualifying campaigns and things like that. They didn't even record a win. And their group included I think it was Chinese Taipei, and teams that basically Bahrain, Chinese Taipei, and one more, Turkmenistan. And those are the teams, especially Turkmenistan and Chinese Taipei, those are the teams that I would say Singapore during 2003 or early 2000s, they would have beaten pretty easily, if I'm being honest, and I will talk about this a bit later. But they didn't record any wins, and yeah, that's basically it. So it would be a nice challenge for me to start this series and to attempt to return Singapore, to make Singapore great again, that's why the title, to the legendary days where players like Dolah Kasim or Fandi Ahmad, and even competitions like Malaysia Cup, the two words that will make anyone emotionally invested in Singapore football, they will crack into a smile when hearing those words, basically. And also to return to the golden generation period in early 2000s with players like Aida Iskandar, Syahril Ishak, Baihaki Kaizan, Indra Syahdan, Noh Alam Shah, and the list goes on. And I feel old, by the way, because those players who I followed closely around 15 years ago, they've become a legend. They're considered legends now, basically. So I feel old. And another reason why I want to do a Singapore series is because, again, during my procrastination period, I found actually a channel dedicated to Singapore football. It was made by a member of the fanatical ultra group called Hougang Hulls. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention the channel name or the name of the person who made that channel, or even put the channel link in the description below. But I guess I will try to get in touch with the guy and also people involved in that group. Basically, they are the fanatical support of this club right here, Hougang United FC, which we will face in the league, basically in our league campaign. And they are considered one of the most boisterous and noisy supporters in Singapore, basically. And I was truly inspired by them. I looked at the match day vlogs that they posted on that channel, and I was like, wow, there's something, there's that passion burning in Singapore football. There's still that ray of hope that I think I should be involved, even if it's through a Football Manager series, Football Manager video game. Basically, I want to get involved. I want to take up the challenge and make Singapore great again. Alright. Okay, let's move on with the goals of this save. In terms of my personal life, I was about to say hone my skills, but that's not really the case. It's more like to refresh my old skills, like my design skills when I design the thumbnails, and also to try and get into the discipline of a particular routine by uploading and making videos regularly and things like that. And most importantly, I want to say that English is actually not my first language. And in recent years, I have been out of touch with spoken English. In my daily life, I never ever got the opportunity to use English language when I'm speaking. I only use English when I'm writing, when I'm typing on the computer, and also like chatting with my friends who are overseas, whether those I met in real life or online through WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and things like that. So it is very important, I think, to get into that routine of using the spoken English regularly once again. And as for the series itself, I plan to end the save or the series in the following scenarios. Firstly, when the game eventually crashes, as I play so many seasons that it just crashed, that's when I guess it's time to stop. And second scenario is when Singapore, whether it's managed, the Singapore national team, whether it's eventually managed by me or anyone else, or or by the computer, when Singapore finally qualifies for the World Cup, with most of the players that I have nurtured being involved extensively in the team or being featured in the team, then I will say, okay, it's time to retire. My job, my work here is done. And thirdly, I might end the series if my club, it doesn't have to be the current team that I'm managing right now, which is Young Lions. I guess I should have stated that earlier, but you were able to see it on the thumbnail and also on your screen, basically, since I started recording. It doesn't have to be Young Lions, it might be some other teams, but if my club, the club that I'm managing, managed to dominate the S.League and also being competent in Asian competitions, like the AFC Cup or the AFC Champions League, then I guess it's time to retire. And last scenario is that if I get fired by my team and have actually taken the team or the Singapore football as far as I ever could, then it's time to retire. But let's just hope for the best. And besides Singapore, I also have new series for the future that I have planned, but I guess let's focus on Singapore first before going on with those other interesting leagues that I have in mind. Some of those leagues I have to download a custom database to load because in the vanilla game, those leagues are not loaded. I think Singapore is really a good place to start for me because like I told you guys the last time, no, I haven't told you guys this, but I want to tell you guys that the last time I played a football manager or a championship manager really extensively and in the long term were in the old versions, namely CM0102, CM0304. I played the Indonesian League and the Ukrainian leagues, as well as managing Inter Milan up to season 2016-2017 when I won the Champions League on a penalty shootout with Diego Maradona's son being involved in that team, by the way. Very interesting nostalgia. I also played FM07 quite extensively, again with Indonesian League at that time. But since then, I haven't been playing at all, and this is the first time I will be playing FM seriously once again. And I think Singapore, and especially Young Lions, I will get into it later, is a good way to start a bedding in period for long season marathon play, I would say. Alright, so I guess I've explained way too long about certain things, and let's move on now. Let's move on to the S-League itself. Singaporean League is actually known as the S-League for short, and is also more commonly known that way. And in this game, FM17, apparently we will be playing in the 2016 season. Right now, the 2017 season in real life have just ended. Because as you see, the title holders from 2015 was DPMM Brunei, one of the two foreign teams in the league. Again, I will go into it a little bit later. Okay, let's go to the structure of the league. Basically, the league has no relegation system. It's only one division unless you upload a new database, I would say. There are only 9 teams here. It used to be more. In 2003, for example, there were more teams in the league, and teams that are now no longer playing in the S.League, like Woodlands Wellington, Gombak United, Tanjong Pagar United, and also the legendary club Sembawang Rangers FC. Basically, they are not in the league anymore at the moment. And as of 2018, it's been the same teams that are being involved. In the upcoming 2018 season, it's the same 9 teams. These 9 teams will be playing in the league. And there are 9 teams, like I said, so we play each team 3 times. And in total, we will be playing 24 games in this league. And if you see the history, I mentioned that there are 2 foreign teams. This league has always been known to invite teams from foreign countries to play in the league. Like, for example, in 2003, the season where I followed the league really closely, Home United won the league. They really dominated with players like Perez de Oliveira, Suti Suksomkit, Aida Iskandar, and the goalkeeper Lionel Lewis, and things like and SAFFC with Ahmad Latif, and Gelang United with Brandon Santalap and Alexander Duric. Wow, so many nostalgic moments there from 2003. But yeah, since 2003, not since, I don't know since when, but at least since I followed the league in 2003, there was this Chinese team called Xinqi FC. And since then, it's been like a revolving door of foreign teams. Xinqi didn't play anymore after that, and then new foreign teams came in. I remember Sporting Afrique, consisting of African players, including one former Arsenal trainee, played. I think it was in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. And then 2008, Korean Super Reds from Korea, South Korea, played in this league, almost winning the league. I remember quite clearly. And then there was Etoile, a French team, who managed to win the league in 2010. And then since then, there is, it stated here as Niigata Unicorn, but actually it's Albirex Niigata, because in FM, in the Football Manager, since I don't know which version, there's been some licensing issues with Japanese teams, so they use fake team names for Japanese teams. But yeah, Albirex Niigata have actually won the league in the last 2 years in real life, 2016 and 2017. They have dominated thoroughly, and we have to watch out for them in this game as well. As well as DPMM, the current foreign teams that are involved are Albirex Niigata from Japan, and DPMM from Brunei Darussalam, Duli Pangeran Muda Mahkota FC from Brunei Darussalam, who won the league in 2015. And yes, that's actually the foreign teams are part of the problems, but we will get into it later, part of the problems plaguing Singapore football. And I chose Young Lions. There are 9 teams, right? And the reason why I opted to manage Young Lions is because finally we can manage Young Lions in this game, because in other versions like CM0304 and FM07, I remember that we were not able to manage Young Lions, just grayed out. Now you can manage everyone. Young Lions, Albirex, even DPMM, the foreign teams, you can manage as well. Because last time foreign teams like Beijing Kuoan or Dalian, you were not allowed to manage them. Or like Etoile, for example, I remember that much. Besides that, I want to nurture Singaporean lads. I want local talents to shine. I do not, again, like I said, foreign teams and foreign players actually are part of the problems in Singapore football. So I want to change that. I want to nurture new Singapore local born and bred talents. And that's why Young Lions, I think, is a perfect setup, because Young Lions is actually an under-23 team. It's not the actual national under-23 though. It might confuse you guys at first, but hear me out. Young Lions is a team that was created to help nurture new talents of Singapore football, but it's not under 20. It consists of under 23 players, and if I'm not mistaken, we are allowed to have 3 overage players. Like in our current squad, we have this guy, Hairul Amri, 30 years old, even though this team is supposed to be a under 23 team. I'm not sure how it actually works or implemented in this game, whether I'm allowed to sign as many older players as possible, or if I'm allowed to sign any foreign players, which I will not do. I will try my best not to, by the way. I'm not sure how it actually works, but it seems that they are running like a proper club with transfer budget and things like that. I don't know how it works. We will see how it goes. Yeah, like I said, this team was created specially to nurture the future of Singapore football. So there's no better team to manage than the Young Lions. And also, besides managing Singapore talents, I think it's also an excellent platform for me to get acclimatized to the game again after so long. Because why I say that is because if you look at the board confidence right here, which is very important. And if I look at competitions, my expectations, don't be shocked. But look at this, Singaporean League, what am I expected to do? The minimum expectation is that the team finish bottom of the league this season. I reckon that it means 2 things. I was really tempted to say, whoa, man, this is the easiest job in the world. But I think, yes, that's one possibility. This is the easiest job in the world where, okay, the board, if you finish at the bottom of the league, like in real life, by the way, they have finished at the bottom of the league in the past 2 or 3 years. At least that's what I know. And last year, in 2017, Young Lions only managed to win once and collected a pathetic 6 points from 24 games. Damn, we have to change that in this game at least. And the minimum expectation, so it's like, I finish 9th, like in real life, for example, I get 6 points, hopefully not. And then the board's like, yeah, good job, Chimpang Si, good job. You have met our expectation, you finished the bottom of the league. But another possibility is that they have this revolving door policy. They appointed me, and then they expect that I will finish bottom of the league, and then in a trial and error approach, they will just fire me and try again. Like try again the next guy. And in Singapore Cup, again, the minimum expectation is that the team attempt to be competitive. So, whatever, yeah, I guess that's the case. But I remember that in previous versions, in the old games at least, I don't know how about now, the board has their own, the board members have their own, like the chairman has their own stats, which we can't click, but we can see it in the game editor usually. And there are hidden stats like patience and things like that. And usually in the obscure leagues, like Singaporean leagues or Indonesian leagues and leagues like that, the chairmen usually have very low stats, very low attributes, and that means they could be really erratic. For example, if I finish at the bottom of the league, I should be okay, but no, they are not okay. They suddenly will just fire me for no reason because of the low attributes and things like that. And another thing to worry is because maybe it's not really relevant, but it's for the purpose of immersion. Okay, firstly, my manager is actually called Jonas Jonsson, a Swedish guy. This is actually a carryover from my Morrowind series. I have in my channel, check it out if you want. I have made a Morrowind series, or at least attempted to, and that's my character, Jonas Jonsson, and that's how he looked like. So I just carried it over instead of using my channel name or my real name, which I don't think I want to do. And another reason to worry about my job is because I have been given a short contract, 11 months contract. And another interesting thing to point out is that I am paid 3,100 Singapore dollars per month. I like to use the local currency and also per month when playing outside of England, by the way. For those who don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but 3,100 per month, Sing dollar, is actually the starting pay of a university graduate from one of the 3 top government universities in Singapore. So Jonas Jonsson, a 46-year-old football manager from Sweden, is earning a not freshman, but like a entry-level salary for a degree holder in Singapore, and only on an 11-month contract. So I won't say it's a really secure job, but yeah, I mean, just a random fact there. Basically, Young Lions, I think, will provide a great challenge for me because we literally have to start from the bottom, and there are a lot of things that I should take care of, especially the youth facility is very funny because it's supposed to be a team, a club that is used solely to churn out the future best talents of Singapore, and yet we only have basic training facilities and poor youth facilities. How could this be? So I think one of the first things I will do is to try to attempt to or convince the board to upgrade all these facilities, make board requests, like facilities. I think I will do all this nitty-gritty in private, not on record, like reading the inbox there, the meeting with the chairman and things like that. I don't know, let me know what you guys want to see. If you guys want to see the nitty-gritty things, and also the transfer negotiations and things like that, let me know. But so far, I think I want to follow the formula followed by many of those football manager YouTubers. They just provide an extensive introduction for the first episode, and then they go straight to the first match of the season, and they play the friendlies and the transfers and everything in private. So yeah, let's move on to the Singapore problems. Like I said, Singapore football is not really in the best shape. And Young Lions, the team I'm controlling right now, has their own fair share of problems, basically. And performance-wise, like I said, they only collected a paltry 6 points from 24 games last season, and that is insane, to be really honest. Especially for future of Singapore football, that doesn't bode well at all. Okay, let's just talk about Singapore football problems very briefly here. I mentioned that about foreigners and things like that. Let's go to the season preview here of the Singaporean league and take a look at this. Okay, this is the odds to win the league. Albirex Niigata is actually the favorite, and for us, 301. So for example, if someone puts a $1,000 bet on us winning the league and we win the league, they will get $300,000. Pretty much. Just like the guy who bet on Leicester City in 2015 in Premier League, and then they won big and things like that. I remember reading an article. But anyways, look at this. This indicates the problem, the inherent problems in the Singaporean league. The key players of the Singaporean league, look at this. Portuguese, Northern Irish, Croatian, Costa Rican, Irish, Argentinian, Croatians, Spanish, Japanese, and the Singaporean players featured here is because we are in the league. So, it's just to make up the number, I suppose. The rest are all foreigners, foreign players. And even the media Dream 11, this guy is the only Singaporean guy. The rest are all foreigners. And the highlighted star player is a Koji Ozawa from Albirex Niigata. So yeah, that's crazy because, like I said, in recent years, the S.League has been dominated by foreign teams and foreign players. And that's why I made this save. I want this to change, and I want local players to shine and carry Singapore forward and make Singapore great again. And yeah, look at that. Seriously, this is a huge problem. And another thing I want to talk about is because Singapore is also societal problems, I would say. That's why the football hasn't been able to develop much. Because, okay, let's say in the UK, if a boy told his parents like, Mom, Dad, I want to be a footballer. And then the parents in the UK would say things like, oh, that's really great, son. Be the next hero of London, lad. Bring the European Cup back to Manchester, lad. Or bring the Prem to Liverpool, lad. And then this kid will get fired up and then be the next Alan Shearer, the next David Beckham, the next Rio Ferdinand, and so on, and go on to represent England and things like that. However, in Singapore, not only in Singapore, but also in the Southeast Asia region as a whole, if a boy said, Mom, Dad, I want to be a footballer, you know what the parents will say? The parents will say, boy, what are you saying? You want to be a footballer? You know doctor, you know lawyer, you know engineer, you bring shame to the family. You want to be a footballer? Get out of my house right now. And then the kid will be so scared and just throw everything related to football from his mind and probably just go to the nearest Starbucks or McDonald's or the local library outlets and just bury himself in the books, basically, to try to get into the medical school, law school, and whatever. So that's, I mean, I'm not saying that's the only problem, but that's one problem that I see in not only Singapore, but in this region, basically. Okay, so like I've mentioned that our expectation is to finish at the bottom of the league. I don't know what that means, but I have a bad feeling about it. And also to be competent in the Singapore Cup, whatever that means. So maybe we should be competent as in not getting trashed or even have to move to the quarterfinals from the prelim round. I do not know. We'll just try to win every game, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to our first team here. Okay. And I think the team, even though it's loaded with players, is pretty unbalanced, to be really honest. The goalkeeper, okay, I have chosen the first team here, which is the best players I could find from the squad, both here and the under-18 squad. The goalkeeper is basically the guy on the thumbnail, Zarfan Rohaizat. He's the best that I could find. Even new signings, I don't think there's another guy that's better than him, so might as well use him. He has 13 handling, 13 reflexes, and 13 concentration. Not too bad. I think I'm okay with that. But the fullbacks, I will need to sign more fullbacks, especially left defender. It's nothing stellar at all with these guys. Only they have 13 pace, 15 acceleration. But the technical and mental is just nothing, basically. So I might have to find new signings. And central defenders, I like this guy because he's the fast and good in tackling, good in positioning, maybe marking. We could train him. But he's fast. He's the typical young and fast defender. I need to pair him with a powerful center back, which Shannon Steven, even though he has a decent 14 marking and 13 positioning and 11 tackling, but his physical stats, 6 strength, not really cutting it, I think. But if we couldn't find anybody else, we have to do it with him. Okay, I have decent guys in the middle for this team. I don't think I want to sign anyone. Like, he has 13 passing, 13 technique. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. And yeah, this guy, 13 tackling for a more defensive central midfielder. And winger, I really want to upgrade as well because crossing 9 for Jonathan Tan and Christopher van Huysen. 6 crossing, not cutting it. I have players in my shortlist, which I will show briefly later on. So I will sign. And as for the striker, I also want to sign a new target man, hopefully. Yeah, even though we have decent striker here. At this level, I think 12-13 should be good in terms of attribute. And this guy is definitely our star player, Khairul Amri. I remember him emerging as a young, fresh-faced 20 years old back then, basically, yeah. And he has to be the focal point of this team. He's not a long-term solution at 30 years old, striker, but he has to be the experienced head spearheading the team, at least for this season and the next for us. And in real life, he is no longer playing with this team. He is playing with Tampines Rovers at this moment. That's the first team. And the subs, yeah, basically not so stellar. Basically, they are the same with the first team, just that slightly lower stats here and there, but they're basically the same. So yeah, that's the first team. Let me know what you guys think about it, if there's anyone watching. In terms of strengths and weaknesses, I do not know what to say about this. I think the strengths gotta be the physical side of it, like pace. We have pacey players here and there. And in fact, I couldn't find many more pacey players out there besides 13 to 14 pace and acceleration at the most. So I think we are okay in terms of speed. We are fine. Yeah, like 14. We are fine in terms of speed. That's our strength. And the weaknesses, I think, being young players, all the technical and mental stats are pretty much very low to rubbish, especially mental stats. But it's expected for young players because we are under 23 players. Everyone is under 21 in this team right now, with the exception of Hairul Amri, the only 30 years old. I'm not sure if I will be allowed to sign older players. I will try, because if I'm not mistaken, we are allowed to sign 3 overage players. Not sign, like we're only allowed to feature 3 overage players. So by right, with that logic, we have 2 more slots for older players. Oh, Van Huysen is 23. So I say, yeah. It's not, everyone's not under 21. But anyways, okay, so that's strengths and weaknesses, I guess. But I will go to the tactics that I have set up at the moment. Okay, I have spent a lot of time setting up the first team, setting up the tactics, and then trainings, and also shortlisting players like crazy. But this is what I call the honeymoon period in Football Manager, where I set everything so meticulously, and then when push comes to shove, when the season starts, things will be different. When I start losing games, start getting frustrated, I will just, okay, let's try this formation. Let's try 4-2-4. Let's try 4-5-4-4-5-1, and just trial and error, and all this effort will go to nothing. But at the moment, yeah, this is a setup I have. I have 3 tactics set up. I'm approaching this with the lower league management mentality, in which they always say that to keep it simple in lower league management, because your players are not really the best in terms of attributes. So you have to keep it simple. That's why I chose the basic 4-4-2 as our main tactic. The standard version mostly for away games or games against the most strongest teams in the league. Like, for example, against Albirex Niigata, of course, I will use the tactic with standard mentality. And there's an attacking version. The only difference is some roles, like the fullbacks are more defensive, and yeah, things like that. I think that's the only noticeable difference at the moment. The fullbacks are more defensive, and then the mentality is attacking for the attacking version and standard for standard version. And the team shape is always structured, because, like I said, it's a lower league mentality, lower league management mentality. So I don't think with our player quality we can play fluid or very fluid and things like that. So we go with structured for now. And the third tactic, I actually, in this kind of game, whether in CM or FM, counter mentality has never worked for me. I mean, in theory, it's really good, especially with this formation. Like the 2 defensive midfields snatch the ball from the opponent and then just launch a quick counter attack. Looks cool, like the fast break in NBA, I guess. But it never ever works for me. So I don't know what to say about it. But I have to give it a try, especially against, again, away matches with against strong teams. I will try to use it. And as for the team instructions, I have chosen to go with, because I'm planning to sign pacey and skillful wingers. So I want to stretch the play wide. And also I want to exploit the left and right flanks and clear ball to flanks, because the theory is that the pacey wingers that hopefully I will be able to sign, and even the guys already in the club, will be able to outrun the opponents, get the ball on the flanks, and then just launch crosses. And again, depending on my signings, I will go with either low crosses or whip crosses if I'm able to sign a big lumbering target man. And again, lower league LLM mentality, I go with direct passing, not enough skills and stuff like that for shorter passing. and be more disciplined, stick to position and stuff like that. Very simple. As for the transfer shortlist, I also want to show you guys as well. Both players and staff. Oh, it's terrible. But let's start with the players first. I have some players here, a lot of players, but I think at most I will only sign 4 players. These are the players I want to sign. First and foremost, the lumbering target man, Halili the Cruz. He used to play for this team long ago. I think I want to bring him back. 14 strength, the highest ever player that I could find in terms of strength in Singapore. I tried to filter it by deleting the realistic transfer, and still, he's the strongest player I could find in terms of strength. And look at this, 186 centimeters. At this height, in this league, he is towering. Basically, he towers against most players. And he will be able to out-muscle and also out-jump players in this league. So I hope I can sign him. And other players that I want to sign are, of course, the left backs. Like these guys, pacey left backs. I'm hoping to sign at least one of them. And even the right back, Herrick Singh. Looks not bad. Pacey with good tackling and things like that. Again, bad mental, but yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing about this league. And I want to sign skillful wingers. Okay, the difference between the players I want to sign on the shortlist and current players is the technical. We have the 14, 13 pace and acceleration kind of thing, but we do not have this stats here. Crossing 14. 14 is pretty good. Pretty good in this league. 12, even 12. 12 is decent. So I really want to sign these guys, maybe all of them, just to launch all those crosses into the strike force, especially to Khalili the Cruz if we are able to sign him. And another players I want to sign is the center back. I was looking for a powerful center back. I was about to sign this guy, Lee Russell, with the good tackling, positioning, marking and all that, but his strength is 7. But there's another guy that I want to sign from the past. He's part of the golden generation, part of the many foreigners that were naturalized by Singapore. Players like Fahruddin Mustafic, Alexander Duric, and things like, I only remember 2 at the moment, but they were made. Itimi Dixon, Agu Kasmir, and Precious Ebujiraye was one of them. And I found him because I was looking at the Singapore national team, and he was in the national team alongside Agu Kasmir, the guy I was mentioning. But he's 31, he's a striker with a nice attribute, but at 31 and a striker, I doubt I want to sign him. I might as well sign younger players. But, like I said, we already have a fast, pacey, young centre-back in Ryan Shafiq. And when you read guides about lower league management and things like that, they always talk about pairing fast, young central defender with an experienced, strong, powerful centre-back. And Precious Mbujiraye ticks all the boxes. 32 years old, extremely experienced, good stats, good mental, good strength at 12, and he has a lot of experience, mainly in Indonesia, because Singapore won the AFF Cup in the final against Indonesia. They totally obliterated Indonesia at that time over 2 legs, and many players from that team, that Singapore team, were signed by Indonesian teams. Not only Precious, but also Baihaki Kaizan, Aida Iskandar, I believe, played in Indonesia briefly, and a few other players that I don't think I remember, but I remember that there are quite a few players signed by Indonesian clubs. And Precious Mbujiraye, if he wants to sign, I don't think I want to try and click approach to sign now, because I'm afraid that if I click there and if I want to back out from the screen, I have to click on walk away, and I think that's bad if I click on that. So I think it will affect my future attempts to sign him, so I better click it privately later on. But Precious Mbujiraye will be, well, a precious addition to our squad. Not only in terms of his skills and attributes, but also his experience, and he will be able to guide and provide precious guidance to our youngsters. Because if you go on YouTube and you search for young lions, most people involved in Singapore football, they do not have nice things to say about young lions. They say things like, "Oh, young lions is useless. You better disband it. It's useless. It's full of young players, but no guidance at all. They might as well disband the young lions, scatter the players into the S.league clubs so that the older players in the clubs will be able to guide and nurture them." So that's why if I'm allowed to sign Precious and Muejiraye, I will be able to basically fulfill their wishes, those fans' wishes. Precious will be providing Precious nurturing guidance into the players, and also the perfect pairing of a young, fast centre-back with an experienced, powerful centre-back. That is extremely perfect, and I really hope to be able to sign Precious and Muejiraye, a really precious centre-back. Nothing else to say. As in terms of staff, it's not any better. I also have a lot of things that I need to do. I need to sign heads of youth development. I need to sign an assistant manager, and I need to fire coaches that I have. Like this guy right here, he has to go. He's imported from Belgium, but look at this attribute. I could find many more better local coaches in terms of goals. 7 goalkeeper coaching. Are you serious, Frederick? He has to go. Like I said, staff short list. Okay, let's go with coaching attributes. Goalkeeper. Yeah, look at this. I can sign Ilang Govan. Goalkeepers 14. There you go. And also need to sign scouts, because we currently do not have scouts. Physiotherapy as well. Physiotherapists, I should say. I should sign one as well. And okay. Yeah, basically coaches, and also a few coaches. Alexander Duric will be interesting. Alexander Duric as a fitness coach, and he's working with youngsters is good as well. So I might sign him, maybe as an assistant manager for good measure. Probably, I will think about it. Or I was thinking to sign this guy as my assistant manager because his level of discipline is 19, man management is 13, quite decent, but Duric is a legend, but his man management is 1, so maybe he's just a fitness coach, I guess. And I will stick with Toh Chun Ming as my assistant manager, I would say. And as for scout, there's also quite interesting. The best scout I could find is actually this guy, Liam Grabovac overall. Is he the son of Mirko Grabovac? I wonder if he's a son of... I don't think so, because he's 38 years old. Cannot be his son. But yeah, he's a Grabovac, same surname. I don't know who he is. But most likely we will have to sign him as our head of scout, head chief scout, or even ordinary scouts. I will figure it out. I will have to overhaul the backroom team as well. So I will have to mutual terminate Frederick's contract, as well as one of the coaches that I didn't think was good enough. Yeah, I think it's this guy, Nasruddin Baharudin, has to go as well. And I will try to make a board request to add the coaching team. But yeah, we will see how it goes. And hopefully I will be able to sign all the staff and the players that I want. So yeah, I don't know how long it's been, but I think it will be coming to an end really soon. I have many friendly matches and also friendly matches that I will create just to get the match fitness going. And one of them, are already organized by the computer, is again Prisons Sport and Recreation Club. I don't know if the players here are prisoners in real life or something. I do not know. Or is it a club managed and financed by the prison? I do not know. I have no idea. But there are real players in this team, not grayed out FM players. And I can sign them actually. So assuming that they are prisoners and they are serving their time in prison. So if I sign them, does it mean that, okay, Young Lions want to sign you. So now you're out of jail and you become a football player, professional footballer. Bye bye. Does it work that way? Or what? And even their kid, look at this. The stereotypical prison uniform kid. I just find it quite hilarious. But yeah, I have some friendly matches lined up where I will be experimenting with tactics and players and things like that, get the fitness up and things like that. And the first match that we have is an away game, is a tough away game against Home United. And the first two games are against Home United and Geylang United International. They used to be known as Geylang United. That's why I was about to say United. And what I'm planning to do for this series is that I want to play 2 games per episode. I think until I have played every single team in the league, or maybe like when I know which position I will end up in, there's nothing else to play with that rubber games. Maybe towards the end of the season, then I will play certain games in private just to expedite the progression of the season in this series. Yeah, that's the plan. And if you guys are watching and you guys have any other suggestions, please let me know if you guys prefer that arrangement or not. And yeah, but that's the plan. I will play 2 games in each episode. And I just want to note, probably as one of the last things I want to talk about, I think the episode number 4, because this is episode 1, episode 2, episode 2, 3, and 4. At the start of episode 4, we will be playing an away game against Hougang United. And this is very interesting because, like I said, I've watched a lot of videos about the Hougang Wolves, the ultra supporters group of this club, and they are the most the most enthusiastic and boisterous group of supporters in Singapore. And it will be interesting. I think I will try to get in touch with them to see if I am allowed to maybe put like a few seconds of footage of them cheering their team and stuff like that. It's amazing. Maybe compared to European leagues and all that, it's nothing, even compared to Indonesian leagues. But in terms of Singapore football, what they are doing is amazing. It's really touching to see their dedication for Singapore football. Oh, and another thing to note, and another thing I learned from their video is that this guy, Stipe Plasibat, is currently no longer playing for them in real life. He has moved to Home United, which is considered as the bitter rivals of Hougang United by the supporters group. And I have seen in the video where Stipe scored against them for Home United and he didn't celebrate. And then the supporter group guy said that, oh man, if he celebrate, I will strike him down, something like that. So there's a huge animosity there. Because he moved to the bitter rivals. But yeah, that's another interesting things that I noted. So episode 4, hopefully it will be an interesting match against Hougang United. I can already imagine the atmosphere in Hougang Stadium. It is amazing. I will try to ask them if I'm allowed to link their channel and stuff like that. And even, like I said, provide short footage during the match or before the match or something like that to show their supporters how they support their team. Is amazing. So yeah, with that, I think it's time to end this episode. I've been talking for almost 1 hour. I feel like I almost lose my voice here, seriously. And yeah, this is the first episode. If you have watched until this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And next episode, assuming that there's no special request to show the transfer negotiation process and stuff like that, we will be starting the season. Hopefully we will be able to sign all the stuff and the players and get our tactics going, and for me to get acclimatized to the game enough so that I'm ready for the new season, for the tough away game against Home United. And all I'm hoping for this season, the first season, is firstly not to get fired, and secondly to be able to at least outperform the actual Young Lions in 2017. That means to get more than 1 win more than 3 draws and more than 6 points at the end of the season. I think that's all I am hoping for. And let's see if we can exceed the expectation from the board by finishing 8th. That will be interesting. And I think that's it for now. I think I've covered way too many things. I think I'm going crazy. I think you guys maybe do too if you guys are watching. And I think I'll see you guys in the next episode where we will start with our Singapore campaign, and together we will make Singapore great again. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye and have a nice day.